Hello, in this video we will briefly cover how to illustrate a change in demand and what the difference is between a change in quantity demanded and a shift in demand. In figure A we have a single curve which illustrates the relationship between price and quantity demanded for coal. The curve shows us how much coal the market demands at different price levels. But what about factors that might impact demand other than price? Notice how I have always been referring to quantity demanded and not demand in our previous slides. The difference is that quantity demanded refers to a point on the curve, while demand refers to the entire curve. When factors other than the price level change and impact demand, we need to illustrate this on our curve. There are also a number of different factors that can influence demand. Factors like the prices of related goods, complements or substitutes, for example. When the price of air travel increases, the demand for tourism services decreases, even though the price of staying at hotels or eating at restaurants might not change. Or expectations of future prices. When the price of petrol is about to increase, everyone tries to fill up their cars before the price increase. So the current price of petrol has not changed, but all of a sudden there is a massive increase in demand for petrol. Another factor could be income. Even though prices remain the same, a higher income almost always leads to higher demand, and the same for expectations of future income. You might spend less now, so lower your demand, because you are worried about losing your job in the near future. A very important factor is preferences. A change in preferences can really impact demand. Take, for example, the increasing trend of low-carb diets. Even though there has been no increase in the price of carb-heavy foods, the demand for these have fallen. Similarly for sugar. A more healthy conscious society has led to a drastic fall in demand for sugar, even though the price for sugar has remained the same. Preferences can also increase demand. For example, a certain brand can create a fad or hype around their product, causing an increase in demand for that brand, regardless of how good or bad the quality of that product is. And lastly, an increasing or decreasing population can also lead to an increase or decrease in demand where no price level changes have taken place. The more people there are, the higher the demand for goods and services. So to illustrate these external or non-price related factors, we shift the entire demand curve up or down. This allows us to illustrate how demand and then quantity demanded would change when there is no change in the price level. So if consumers decide they are willing to purchase more of a good, the demand curve shifts to the right. As you can see in figure A, line D' represents a higher demand curve or an increase in demand due to factors other than the price. This is the market's new demand curve. If it were just price that changed, we would simply be moving along the curve. Now let's assume the price of coal is currently $20 per kilogram. As you can see in figure A, a rightward shift, let's say due to a change in the market's preferences for coal, would cause the market to increase its quantity demanded from 70 kilograms to 120 kilograms, even though the price level has not changed. So as you can see, for every price level, there is now a higher quantity demanded because of the shift in the demand curve to curve D'. In a similar way, the less consumers are willing to pay for a product, the more the demand curve shifts to the left or downwards. If the market decides that burning coal was bad for the environment, then consumers might decide to buy less coal because their preferences have now changed. Or let's assume the market anticipates a decrease in the price of coal in the next month. In this case, most consumers would decide to buy less coal now and only buy much more after the price has actually fallen. This would cause the demand curve to shift leftwards or fall. As you can see by looking at the demand curve D', at every price level, the quantity demanded is now less. So external factors or influences cause the entire demand curve to shift, while changes in the price level cause movements along the curve, indicating a change in the quantity demanded. On its own, the demand curve does not tell us too much. There are some additional insights we could gather from the slope of the demand curve, but we'll cover that in future chapters. For now, what is important is that you understand what the axes represent and what the difference is between a shift in the demand curve and a change in the quantity demanded due to a change in the price.